3rd of April, 2021. That was when Ishmael Mensah Abdallah was killed. And the moment he was killed, 2 persons were arrested. 18-year-old Nicholas Kini, and then a 15-year-old Juvenile. Now, forth and back, it was a committal process. They needed to do the committal process. It went to the Attorney General. It took years, a while, for the advice to come. And eventually, they were committed to go and stand trial for murder. Then the matter came to the High Court. Then, in March 2023, the first prosecution witness was called. Throughout, they called 7 witnesses. The accused person, the 15-year-old Juvenile, pleaded guilty initially. The court entered not guilty plea for him because of the nature of the offense. The second accused person denied the offense all throughout.
The second accused being
the
Nicholas
Kini.
Yeah,
okay.
that's the 18-year-old.
He pleaded not guilty throughout. Now, prosecution called 7 witnesses, including the mother of the 15-year-old boy, the father of the 15-year-old boy, and the sister of the 15-year-old boy. Then state prosecutors, in fact, investigators and other also came in to testify. Prosecution closed its case. The court held that a prima facie evidence has been established. It means the accused persons ought to answer to the charges. 2 counts, conspiracy and murder. The first accused said, no, I confess, we did it and I have nothing to tell the court. All that I want to tell the court that if the second accused person says that we didn't do it, I leave him to his conscience. The second accused, which is the 18-year-old boy, came in and said, look, I did not do it. He gave all the other points. He denied the friendship between the 2. We didn't do anything. If he said we did it, ask him who he did it with, not me. He closed his case. On the 14th of February this year, and 14th of February, what the day is?
Yeah, that's Valentine's Day.
It was Valentine's Day that Nicholas Kini closed his case. He said he wanted to call a witness, which is his grandfather. But that grandfather who was there passed on. So he had nobody to call. And he closed his case. The court directed the parties to file their written submission by way of final address submissions. And since then, the jurors have been on strike, adjournment upon adjournment. And yesterday would have been the 6th time it would have been adjourned if the jurors were not present. Unfortunately, yesterday in court, they were properly constituted. All other person who mattered in that case was present in court. And then the jury had the opportunity. So prosecution addressed the court. The case was called 10-17. And the jury returned their verdicts at 2:51. So very long sitting yesterday.
Very long sitting.
But within the time period, prosecution addressed the jury, and all that they want to say is that we have been able to prove the guilt of the accused person. So return a guilty plea verdict against the accused person. The first accused person came in and said, look, I wish to apologize to the family of the deceased and the victim, and wish Ishmael, may his soul rest in peace.
How can his soul rest in peace?
May his soul rest in peace. And he asked for forgiveness. And I told the court that I do not want to waste your time. I have confessed from day one. However, when you go in there to deliberate on the issue, please favor me and return a not guilty plea verdict in my favor.
How do I return a not guilty when you have pleaded guilty?
That was it. In the courtroom, people were asking, oh, what is this counsel saying? So that was the first accused.
You pleaded guilty.
You pleaded guilty. You have confessed. What do you want? And then you needed to be punished. That ended there. Then the second accused came in. He said, look, upon all the prosecution I've done, the onus is on prosecution to prove my guilt. And all the witnesses that they have called, they have not been able to prove beyond reasonable doubt that I committed the act with the first accused person. Then the addresses ended. Then Justice Lydia Osema, who is a judge of the Court of Appeal now, summed up the whole trial. The law, what the law says, the element that ought to be proven, what all the witnesses have said, the consistent ones, those that were not consistent. He drew out all those differences and directed the jury. If you are convinced, make sure that you are not coming here with the mind of society, what people have said about this case out there.
But what you have
what
heard.
you have heard in this court, not even outside the court, just in this court. If you are convinced that they did it, return a verdict of guilt. If you think that they didn't, Then they retire. They retired at 2:46. And normally it takes time. Sometimes they will go there, they will need some direction, come back. But yesterday, 2:46, and at 2:51 they were back.
Just after 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Justice Lady was saying, jury, have you arrived at a decision? He said, foreman, have you arrived at a decision? He said, yes, we have. Is it unanimous? I said, yes, to tell us. Count 1, conspiracy, guilty for all the 2. Count 2, murder, guilty, all the 2. My lady said, thank you very much, you are discharged. Now, accused person, be on your feet. This is what the law says. The law says that when you kill somebody, you know, because of the amendment to the law, a lot of things have changed. So now murder previously used to be death. Now it is life in prison. 15 years, the first accused, who is 15 years, the court said you are a juvenile. And at the time that the incident happened, now he's 18. But at the time that the incident happened, he's 15 years. So the court said it is remitting him to the juvenile court for sentencing. However, with the 18-year-old Richard, I don't know why I keep
He's
mentioning
now
Richard.
21.
Yes, Nicholas Kini. Even at the time that incident happened was 18. In Ghana, 18 years, you can vote, you can take a decision, you can marry. You're
So
some
tried
rights,
as
you
an
are an adult. So as an adult, the law says that life in prison. And then the court gave them the opportunity to say something. The 15-year-old didn't say anything. But the 18-year-old said, look, the family of the deceased should contact the ghost, and then for them to know the truth.
For them to know who killed him.
But for him, he's still pleading his innocence. But immediately after the conviction and the sentencing, I caught up with him, and let's hear from what he said. He said, let's watch it.
Okay.
Yes.
So he's been found guilty.
Yes.
And he's been sentenced to life.
You heard him. He said,
He said,
Said boss to Mekwaba.
So all he's saying is that
he's still innocent.
He's done nothing wrong, and he's going for life. So that's what happened. But his lawyers, you know, one of the things that played out was why the lawyer was asking the jury to return and not guilty verdict, especially when you confess to the court. I have been asking lawyer for the first accused person, Mr. Lawyer Samuel Ichia, why did you say the jury should return a not guilty verdict when you confess the offense? Let's hear.
The decision of return of non-guilty verdicts relies on the jury. So it is something that I said to the jury, but not to actually convince them, because that is not the position of the law. It is good because the evidence is obvious that my client, for instance, admitted to the offense. And once you've admitted to the offense, there's no way that the jury returned no guilty verdicts. But he confessed the offense to me. And once he confessed the offense to me, as a lawyer, you also ought to be an officer of the court. You ought to be very candid with the court. So once he has confessed offense to me, I asked him that he should tell the truth.
Is it because you know that he has a maximum of 3 years to serve?
Not really, not because of that. He confessed the offense because he realized that in his evidence at the police station, at the indictment, and even before the trial, he said it. So it's not because that he has a maximum sentence of 3 years. Once he has told me the truth, as a lawyer, it's my duty also to help the client and the court that the truth ought to be told, because we are looking for truth and justice.
So that is lawyer Samuel Ichia, who represented the 15-year-old juvenile who was convicted, and he's explaining why he was telling the jury, we are guilty, we confess, but return a not guilty verdict for us.
Yeah.
But of course, lawyer for the second accused person who is going in for life, Lawrence Boampong. We've been caught up with Lawrence Boampong and asked, counsel, are you disappointed with the decision? Let's hear what he has to say.
It makes me feel very bad, but the circumstances of this case, we can't say much. You were in court throughout the trial, and you had the evidence on record. There was little we could do. Just like counsel for first accused said, it is a duty of our client to tell us the truth, give us the facts as they are. Throughout the trial, we asked him whether he committed the offense. He denied to us. And there was nothing we could tell the court apart from what he has told us. So it's a very difficult case for us to do, though my senior, Martin Pebu, was called upon by the court to extend his pro bono services to the second accused. And you heard my lady throughout the trial. We have done our best representing the second accused. But this is the decision of the jury, and we respect it.
Are you going to appeal?
We do not have the instructions of our client yet. And today was the verdict and the judgment. We need to apply for the judgment, study it. Then thereafter, if we have the instructions of our client, and if there is merit in appealing, we'll look at it. But for now, I can't say much about appeal.
All right.
So that is lawyer Lawrence Buampon. He was holding brief for Martin Pebu. They represented the second convict. He's now a convict. So
he's now a convict.
Yeah, he's now a convict. So
or do we call him a murderer?
Yeah, you can say so.
Because now he's been convicted. It's
not
not alleged anymore.
Murderer. So when you see him, you can
It's
say
sad.
murderer, he cannot say anything to you. But he's what you can, the best terminology to use, an ex-convict. A convict or ex-convict. That is when he comes back.
Well, he's going to prison for life. So
For life, so he don't come back. He said he will come back. They were wondering, come back where?
Maybe he believes he'll be pardoned.
Well, at
sometime.
some point in time, it depends though, but the surroundings, circumstances of this case, anybody who was in the courtroom, it wasn't easy. The emotions alone and all that. And in all of this, the family, for them, they think that punishing somebody means justice, even though their son will not come back. So let's go and see what Mr. Harrison Afo, Mensah, I beg your pardon, who represented the family, had to say.
The family is satisfied. Even though we've lost our son, this should serve as a deterrent to any other person who wants to take the law into his or her own hands. It wasn't easy. We were only waiting for judgment to be given so that we go back to our various homes to go and continue wherever we have left off. Mind you, because of this issue, my brother has lost his job that he's doing, his private business, and he's in debt over 180,000 Ghana cedis, which we don't know where to go and find those monies to pay off those debts.
Just because of this case?
Yes. So once judgment has come, we'll go back and then strategize and know and see how we could pay off those debts.
Have you been able to speak to the mother of Ishmael?
We've not been able to establish contact with her as we speak, but I'm sure from here she will get the news that judgment has been given and Kini is going in for life, and that will be the reward for her.
So that is Mr. Harrison Mensah, relative.
Justice finally served,
said,
yeah.
For the family, all that they want is that somebody should be punished, and Nicholas Kini is going for life, and then we'll know the fate of the 15-year-old.
Well, I mean,
we are not mentioning his name because of the age,
because he's a juvenile.
obviously.
So
Absolutely.
he can only be punished for up to 3 years, right?
So the court said,
if he goes to a juvenile court,
yes,
or it could be more?
Yes, the maximum is 3 years. Yes, the court said until now, he should be remanded into police custody until such time that he appeared before the juvenile court and sentencing is done. So in the coming days, we'll be telling you more about it. But the court has an advice for the current generation of parents. Don't go to bed when your child is outside.
It's outside.
Yes.
Anyway,
right.
Democracy Hub case.
Yesterday, 4 more people were freed. Earlier 7.
You know, I almost continue for you. 4 more to do more.
4 more people were free.
4 more to do
So
more.
all of these people were.
Yes, all of these people were part of the 53 who were arraigned.
So it means the prosecution doesn't have any evidence against them.
So upon
in
further
the things that they say they did.
yes, upon further investigation, prosecution realized that.
So are they going to sue
there's
the
not
police for compensation?
enough. It is up to them and their lawyers.
Anyway.
That's a civil matter. That
Yeah,
they
so,
want to do. So yesterday they were in court. A set involved Oliver Barker and then Ralph Williams, and then Oliver Barker said 4 persons were freed. And the charge of stealing was also dropped against Oliver Barker. He has been speaking to us yesterday after the court. So let's listen to Oliver briefly.
We can all agree that it's nothing but criminal arrogance that the state is refusing and knows that they have to drop these charges that make no sense. But I think one of the things we can all agree is that the extent of shame is very limited in terms of what they do and how they are proceeding in this matter. We're expecting that this was going to happen, and in fact for everybody. In fact, but again, we know that what is going to happen is that they're going to delay. The matter has been adjourned to the 27th of November. The lawyers say for mention, meaning that we're just to come, the name of the case will be mentioned and adjourned again. It is unlikely that in December the trial is going to start. So we know for a fact that if the government loses, that they would have ended their regime with these charges still pending. Whatever happens in December 7th, well, we will see what that effect it has on the matter. But let's be clear, our positioning and the things we're going to be doing have nothing to bear with what the state decided to do. Whether they want to prosecute or whatever they want to do, we have our own course of action that we're going to be undertaking. But it's important that we remember the genesis of this conversation. Because it's not only about this attempt to distract the Ghanaians with these criminal charges. The conversation is about the criminal actions that have been taken that have resulted in Galamsey and the consequences on the environment. We need to recenter the conversation on that. This is why we are standing trial. It's not about any other thing. It shows an indication that these people have no intention, absolutely not, and they have said so many times, to stop the activities that are going on in our environment and destruction of the environment. It's a lack of an intention, we say a clear lack of an intention to be more robust and pushing for the stopping of Galamsey, and we have to be able to keep the conversation centered on that.
Okay, so that is Oliver Barker after yesterday's court sitting. So we'll come back next month in relation to that. And the last case, Snake OBS, Ernest Thompson, and then 4 others. Prosecution have closed their case. They caught 10 witnesses. So now the court now want to determine whether a prima facie evidence has been established, for which reason the 4 should open their defense. November 29, Justice Henry Anthony Kofi will make that determination.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you to the jury.
Thank you.
Yeah.
As always, we'll catch you on the flip side.
Typical Friday.